Hello everyone, it's Marilyn. Welcome back to KK's Quilt Studio. Hey, there's nothing I like better than waking up in the morning, going through my email or Facebook and finding a question from a fellow quilter, someone who's trying or struggling with a technique and doesn't quite know how to make it work. So this morning had a question from Lori, and she is wanting to put a line of trees along this purple ridge of the mountaintop, and she tried mark and ProStitcher and tried to skew that, but she wasn't having any success. So she's asking for us for advice on how to get this done, and I'll share with you what worked, what didn't work. I played around with this technique. I've done something similar to that, and I think I have a solution for you, Lori. These are the trees that she is wanting to put on that mountaintop. She wants to put them in the line, and this file is from the HQ or the Baby Lock design folder under the continuous line, and then the file name is trees continuous line. So what she's wanting to do is get something like this that's going to curve along and keep those trees still kind of in an upright position. So let's get started. Let's move on over to ProStitcher Premium, and this is where we're all going to have to start. I'm on simulator so that I can record this and you all can see clearly. I have my simulator button pressed, and this red crosshair is going to represent my machine head. And of course, I'm not at the frame, so we're going to try and mock up this curve of the design. But Lori, you're at your quilt and you were on the right path, starting with mark. We're going to mark the line of that purple mountain ridge. So for those of you who aren't sure what Lori was doing, she's under ProStitcher tab under the record on the ribbon, and you can use one of two tools. You can use the mark or the record. If you use mark, you're using points. Every time you click mark, you've designated a point. So I'll try and rough up a mountaintop here, trying to simulate the curve of that mountain. If you have, now I'm reaching over to press the button. If you have the mark tool assigned to a button on your handlebars, you can use that as well. Depends on what machine you have. So, and then it kind of curves up. Just for the sake of time, I'm just trying to do a simple one. Okay, once you've marked from the left side of the quilt to the right side of that mountain range, we're going to go to File and Save, and we're going to save that selected line. And IMF signifies my thumb drive that I have in my machine, and I'm going to go under Classes. This is where I keep all of my personal designs under that folder called Class. And you'll see here I've already saved a design called Mountain. ProStitcher Premium wants to default call it freehand. So if you want to change, just go ahead and type in what you want to change it. Use your backspace key, either clicking on this keyboard or on your keyboard, and then give it a name. If I can spell mountain. I'll have to name it too, or I'd overwrite the one that's there. So we'll save, and now we have this. So if you wanted to go back and use this to actually stitch those mountains, you can. That file was saved in an HQF format, so it is a stitchable file now. Okay, let's go ahead and clear all that. The other option is to use our record button. Let's return the head of our machine to the left. hit record, and then you will begin to move the head of your machine, tracing out the ridges of that purple mountaintop. Okay, and again, when you're done, go to File and to Save and hit Selected. And again, under the folder, and we'll save that. You notice here HQF or HQP, you can save in either format, and then go ahead and save. We're going to overwrite that other file that we used in Mark. So there is your mountaintop. And like I said, if you want to stitch this out, to stitch a line along that purple ridge of that mountain, right along the edge, it'll stitch right where you marked, where you guided the machine. So now let's go to, we're on the File tab, let's open Designs, and here I have that tree. Now we can take that tree, I'm going to use my Select tool, and here's what we're going to get in Art and Stitch. We can take that tree, we can go to repeat it horizontally. Number of times we need to stretch across that line, probably about 5 times. We can go to modify, to rotate, and I'll go back to simulate so I can move my machine head. Place it at the beginning so I could use the, didn't mean to do that, hit the wrong button. Okay, let's baseline that. Okay, get rid of those points and go back to rotate. Use the 2-point, and then I'm going to move my machine head down here to the end line and hit the end point, and that's about as good as ProStitcher Premium can do for you. It won't curve to fit that path, so it's only going to take us in a straight line. We can't get those to move along the curve of that mountaintop or the ridge. Now you could, if you wanted, to take the time to individually place each tree. You could use the rotation tools to curve them into place, but when you get down to like this mark here where it goes down, your trees are going to tip. They're going to kind of cantilever to the side. So that's not exactly what she was looking for. So my next thought was to take it into Art and Stitch, and let's look at that. So here we are in Art and Stitch, and I have brought in, using my backdrop tool found down here, I brought in a picture of that quilt. And if I click on that, under the properties, you'll see that this picture is only about 5 by 5.5 inches. You can make it darker and lighter. See, that's about the color we brought it in at. We want to lighten it up so that we can see. And I am going to trace along the path of this quilt. That's what I did to begin with. I want to save that line. Let me use my reshape tool and click on that so you can see it better. I wanted to use that line as my curve for that ridge, but you will find remember, it's depending on the angle at which you took a picture of that quilt. People have tried this with applique. It's not always going to be accurate, so we really want to use that line that we did in ProStitcher Premium to make our tool. But this is one way you can do it. So I'm going to again bring that in so we can see it. Go up to Tools. We're going to save that as a design path. And here you can see I've already saved it as Mountaintop, and it's an art and stitch file. It's a working file. It's not a stitchable file. And then click Save. So like I said, I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So now I have this line as a path that's in my art and stitch. So now let's go open up the continuous trees file. So we will find that. Like I said, I have it on my thumb drive. Find the folder. And the Mountaintop, we've got, make sure you have it converted to outlines and open as Untitled, because we want to use that and be able to manipulate it. Okay, so there is our ProStitcher file, and right now it's about 30 inches, and that's kind of where we want to be. So let's select that file, be sure to take it back to artwork, go up under tools, we're going to save the design path and save it as Mountaintop. So this is the file that I saved from ProStitcher. We can give it a separate name if we want. I'll just put a PS before it for ProStitcher. So it's two different Mountaintops. Okay. I like this one, so we'll be using this one. But I wanted to show you how you can take that design from ProStitcher and turn it into a path. Okay, next we want to open that tree file. So let's go back, find designs. Go to continuous line. And there's the trees. Again, remember, convert to outlines, open as Untitled. Okay, there's our trees. We're only going to work with one repeat. We're going to go back to artwork. This time we're going to right click on the trees and we're going to design on path way down here at the bottom. Okay, and there we have an arc. If we use the drop down menu, you'll find that there's our Mountaintop. We can change the width of that because it's disappeared. We want to go to 30. That was the original design. You'll see there that our trees, we need to reflect. We want them on the top of the line. And there you see the trees are connected up to that Mountaintop line. We want the line to be on the bottom. And there's our curve. It's not exact, but almost. And I go ahead and click OK. And there is kind of a curvy design. It's not exactly the design that I wanted. If we go back to this one, and we'll select it and copy, paste it in here. And I want to transform that. I want to make the width 30 again. And hit apply. You'll see that there is our line. There is our trees. It's not quite as scoopy as I like, but it's okay. So I didn't get exactly what I wanted in Art and Stitch. So I tried something else. I went into a design program called Inkscape. It's an SVG design program, and as you'll see, I got a little bit better following along the line of that curve, the gentle curve of that mountain. I actually got some trees to tip, the grass to tip, got that line of trees to bend. How did I do that? Well, let's open up a new design page and I'll show you how. So before you take this into Inkscape, we're going to go back to Art and Stitch just briefly, and I want to use that curve design that I saved. We're going to go up to File and Export Artwork. We're going to save this design as an SVG file. So I haven't saved it as a stitch file or signed stitches or anything yet. I want to save it just as artwork. So I can click on Export Artwork, and I'm going to save it as an SVG file. So scroll down here on your drop down menu, and I'm going to save it as the mountain curve. Okay, and then I'm going to go to, let's find those trees. Actually, I don't have just one single, so actually let's just open up. Return to artwork, and now we're going to export the trees as well as an SVG file. So change it, drop down menu to SVG, and save it as trees. Click save, and I've already done this, so let's go back on over to Inkscape. Okay, and I'm just going to close out these boxes. We won't need them for this exercise. And I am going to File, Import, and we're going to find those paths. There's the mountain path. Open that. And then I'm going to open the trees. These are both the files that I saved in Art and Stitch as SVG files. Open that. Okay, I want to take this file and we'll want to resize that. I'm going to change this from millimeters to inches. Make sure that my aspect ratio is locked. Turn that little lock to locked, and we want a width of 30. Okay. Going to go to Edit or Control A on your keyboard. Go down to Select All. Before I do that, I want to make sure that this is forward all the way. So we'll go ahead and raise that selection in top. When you're working with SVG files, you're working with layers. So each image is a layer. So I want to make sure that's in front. And then Again, select all, and I'm going to go over here to extensions, generate from path, pattern along path, go to options. We want a repeated pattern, so that's good. It's kind of a snake pattern. Everything else looks good. If you want spaces between those trees, you can do that. And then we're just going to click apply. Give it some time to think, just like Art and Stitch. And we no longer need that window, so we can close out of here. And I've got my extra trees in the way here, so I'll select those, just take them out of the way. We'll just either hit delete or little scissors over here on the side. I fit to window. So there is our path. Looks a little bit better. It's following along that line. I like it. So from here we can select that, take it back as an SVG file. We're going to save as, and then I've called it Mountain with Trees, and take that, click on save, and then we're going to go back into Art and Stitch so we can assign stitches to these trees to stitch them out. Now we have a curvable, bendable row of trees, and I like the way this looks. It's going to hug that curve of the mountaintop much better. So here we are back in Art and Stitch. We're going to file, we're going to import that artwork we created in Inkscape. So here is our mountaintop with trees. Click on that, click open, and there we have it. We no longer need this design, this line of the mountaintop, so I'm going to remove that, delete on your keyboard or Control X or cut. Okay, now we just have the trees. Now I will tell you, this is what I found. If we apply stitches from here, you get a lot of backtracking for some reason. So what I am going to do before I apply stitches is right click and break apart. Okay, and now I will select all by left clicking, dragging a box around everything, and click on assign running stitches. And for some reason, check this, maybe it won't happen to you, but Art and Stitch wants to sew this backwards, and you see all these little lines in here. It's out of order. So let's find our tree. That one we want to stitch first. So where's our last one? He's down here. So we will drag this one to the bottom and this one to the bottom, this one to the bottom. We're reassigning the stitch out so that it stitches correctly. So I'll go ahead and do this. I'll pause the video and get back with you. Okay, so now I have them in order. I've moved them so that they stitch from left to right. So here's my first one, the second, the third. So it stitches, you'll see, from left to right. So what I want to do from here, go ahead and select all, connect objects, and you're ready to save it as whatever machine file that you need. Put it in the right folder wherever you can retrieve it again and save it in your quilting format. You are ready to go. Don't forget to save it also as a working file. Should say that. So give it a new name, and Mountaintop with Trees, Art and Stitch file, and then your appropriate quilting file with stitches assigned. So you are all ready. I hope that this will work for you, Laurie. I hope you've enjoyed working with me and working through this problem. I know it's been lengthy, but some successes and some trials, and what I found that really works. So for the rest of you all, be sure to join our Facebook group, Art and Stitch ProStitcher Digital Quilting Views, and I'm posting this on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Drop me questions at my email, kksews@kkquiltstudio. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks again, Lori, for making my morning. Bye for now. Happy quilting.